Hello and welcome, and thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of the Upskill Forum. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vince, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Agile Consulting Group, and I'm here with
Thaddeus, also known as TJ. I am the president and co-founder of the Agile Consulting Group. Welcome.
and we are so excited to have you all in our midst yet again for another week of the Upskill Forum. We have a power-packed episode for you all that you don't want to miss. So I'm so excited. So go ahead and start that watch party. Go ahead and share this content with your network. We definitely think that they will truly benefit from the topic that we have at hand today. But before we get down to business, TJ, how's your week going so far?
My week's going pretty good, Vince.
Nice.
It is definitely officially fall here in Wisconsin. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and they told me that they were in California, and it was 104 degrees. And I was like, oh, I really love the heat. I mean, many of you that watch us every week know I'm always talking about the heat wave. So I'm really not ready for winter. I'm not ready for the hats and the gloves. I actually cut my heat on yesterday, and somebody told me, like, it's too early to cut your heat on. I'm like, no, it's not. I think you should be comfortable in your house. I don't like wearing sweatshirts and sweatpants. I just think you should, you're at home and you should feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
How about you?
My week is going good so far. It's scheduled to be a short week, so I'm pretty excited about that. I actually turned my heat on this morning, woke up very congested. The house is very cold. So I ended up just giving in and just turned on the heat. I pay the bill, so that's on me. But I need to be comfortable as well, especially working from home. I think it's extremely important that, I'm at least comfortable. So
I agree, Vince. I mean, I just believe in, for those of you that are here in Wisconsin, we energies, they're going to get their money one way or another. So cut your heat on.
Yeah. They're either going to get it from you or they're still going to get it from you.
Right.
Because either way it goes, they're still going to send a bill in the mail.
Absolutely.
Is pretty much the nuts and bolts of it.
I agree.
No, awesome. Glad your week is off to a good start. And fall definitely is settling in. So it is officially sweater season. I know that I enjoy wearing, some nice sweaters. Me personally, that's fashion, Vince. But yeah, so
sweater season is nice. I think what I love the most about fall is the change. I oftentimes say seasons change and the leaves and just the different colors. It's honestly one of the most beautiful times here in Wisconsin. And I honestly am okay with fall. I just don't like the weather that comes with it.
Yeah.
Probably means I'm not okay with it, but y'all know what I'm saying.
No, I understand. So before we jump into our topic of discussion for this evening, I want to encourage you to make sure that you register for our free masterclass, the Upskill Masterclass, where we are talking to professionals that are looking to get from there to here in their career. If you are frustrated, if you have not excelled in your career the way that you thought that you should have, or gotten to the level or the point in which you hope to get to, this master class is for you. If you or someone that you know that is a part of your network is really interested in growing as a professional, and they're in need of guidance, or they've applied for a number of jobs but they're not getting callbacks, or they are getting callbacks but they're not getting insights as to why they aren't receiving the jobs, this master class is for them. It is for you. So make sure that you click the link and register for this free masterclass. How much is it, Thaddeus?
It's free.
It is free. So make sure that you get registered for this great class. You don't want to miss it. The content is phenomenal. It's going to blow your mind. So get registered. I encourage you to do that now before all tickets are gone. All right, so we're going to jump into our topic for this evening. I thought this was a really good one, TJ.
I like it, Vince.
Yeah, thank you to our viewers that continue to message us and give us topic ideas. Thank you so much to one of our followers, Tommy, for this topic. Thanks so much, Tommy, for reaching out. Awesome. So we like to kick it off with a quote. So to be passive is to let others decide for you. To be aggressive is to decide for others. To be assertive is to decide for yourself. And to trust that there is enough, that you are enough. And that's by Edith Egger.
That's a great quote.
Thought that was a really great quote.
It's a really good quote.
So to be assertive, that means to decide for yourself, right? All right. So kicking it off, everybody has an opinion, right? Every last person has an opinion. Each and every last one of us have an opinion. We have a thought about something. We have feelings towards something. We all have something to say. And I think that how we share our thoughts and opinions is so vital. Now, I had someone, and I'm going to be transparent, I have someone share with me a couple of weeks ago. I'm very opinionated. For those of you that watch the Upskill forum on the regular, you know this. I know this already. I'm perfectly fine with it. And I welcome all thoughts, ideas, the whole nine. But I'm very opinionated, and I own that. But someone told me a couple of weeks ago, she said, Vince, your opinion is aggressive. So I said, well, tell me more. So she went on to share that, when you speak as if you're not giving an opinion, but you're as if you're speaking facts. And I said, well, I'm passionate about what it is that I'm talking about. And I'm typically well studied on the subject matter in which I am giving an opinion on. If I don't have enough context, if I don't have enough facts on it, I typically am not one to speak on it, or I would even add the disclosure, hey, I'm not educated on that topic enough where I'm, comfortable with really sharing a sound opinion, but based off of the information that I have, here's what I'm willing to share.
No, that's good, Vince. And when you think about the topic on tonight, being assertive versus being disrespectful, I think you hit on some very key points. Yeah. And being assertive is okay, and understanding that everyone has an opinion. And I definitely think everyone's opinions matter. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had someone tell you your opinion doesn't matter? You don't pay the bills here. Your opinion doesn't matter because you're not the one that, makes the final decision. I guess I feel that when you really put that into perspective, I don't think that's necessarily true. And the reason I say that is because my opinion is not going to be Vince's opinion on everything, and vice versa. Vince's opinion is not going to always be my opinion. But when you are passionate about something, the delivery of it is very, very important in making sure that you're able to reach a resolve without tearing that individual down.
I think that that's very important too. Reaching a resolve without tearing that individual down. Many times when you are feeling slighted or you're expressing an opinion, generally
Vince, your opinion doesn't matter. So no, I'm just playing. But that's a prime point. How individuals will do. They'll cut you off, and they already tune out and don't hear anything that you're saying.
And I think that it's important learning how to positively reinforce those situations, which means that it does not have to escalate into a hostile situation, into a heated argument. You can positively reinforce that situation. Just as TJ just cut me off, here's a tip and a strategy on how to combat that type of situation. So TJ just cut me off. So think about how I'm feeling in this moment. I'm feeling disrespected. I'm feeling as though I've been slighted. I feel as though my thoughts and opinions don't matter, in that he feels as though what he has to say is more important than me. So even in that moment, I could say, well, TJ, that I'm sure you have a very valid point that you're going to share. Listen, I take a moment to hear my thoughts on the subject matter, and let's see how we can reach a resolve with collectively with both of our thoughts.
No, I agree with that. One thing that Vince does, and I think he does it very well, if I bring something to him versus him shutting me down, he generally says, tell me more. And it gives me the time versus he could automatically go into, he doesn't really care what I have to say, but showing the value in making sure that he understands. Tell me more. I want to dig a little bit deeper. So I think it definitely shows that my opinion matters.
And I think, a part of that is, not shutting you down, wanting you to feel as though your opinion matters, because it does, but also too, how you present information is everything. I may not understand your initial thought process. So as you're talking to me and you're coming to me with an idea and it doesn't click right away, by me asking you to tell me more, I want to understand your thought process, where we're going with this, and if this is truly the direction that we're looking to head into, because ultimately everything we do resorts back to our mission statement. If it does not align with our mission, unfortunately, we can't do it, because this is our promise to you all on what we promise to deliver, how we're going to deliver it, and what that whole methodology is and thought process is around it.
That's good, Vince. I can't add any more to that. I mean, you hit it on the head.
Yeah. So understanding differences make us unique. Not one person is the same. Everyone is different. Everyone is unique in their own way, in their own right. And I think that it is so important for us to embrace that as well, your uniqueness.
No, I agree. Yesterday, for example, I was having a conversation with the CEO, and he pretty much told me, I don't like that idea. One thing, though, that I can value and appreciate is he went into that, tell me more. So I had the opportunity to explain why I thought this was a good idea, why I believe that we should have went this way. And then he came back with, I'm not a huge fan of that idea, and this is why. And after he explained to me his reasoning and rationale behind why he didn't think it was a good idea, we were able to come to an agreement and say, I definitely support what you're saying. That probably isn't the best timing for this idea. So when you think about that, it's so important to make sure that you're listening. Not only are you listening, but you have the mind to understand. You're listening with an intent to understand.
And I think that's the importance as well, is it's a part of being assertive. When I shared that I did not like that idea, it wasn't just I don't like it. It was open and it was put on the table. I motioned second for it to go into further discussion. If you know Robert's Rules of Order, then you would understand the joke. But I motioned second so it could be put on the floor and up for discussion. So, when I say, okay, tell me more, he shared. And then that's when I was able to say, okay, I don't like that idea, and here's why. And I was able to explain why I didn't like the idea versus just saying I don't like that idea. And that what that did was it opened it up where we were able to have more dialogue and discussion around it. And then we ended up agreeing. And I think the outcome is even greater because we were able to talk it through. We were able to agree. And we were both like, you know what? I like that direction a lot better than before. So even in the midst of that, though we had differences in opinions, I wasn't disrespectful. TJ wasn't disrespectful because he didn't like that. I didn't like that idea, but we both were assertive with our stances and we were ready and willing to back that information up. So be ready to back it up. So don't just say something, back it up.
Yep. And I think it goes back to, our main bullet point of everyone's opinion matters, and then everyone is unique. Everyone's not going to think like Thad. Everyone's not going to think like Vince. Everyone's not going to think like you. And when you can respect that and understand that, that's when I think you will honestly start seeing progression within your career, progression within your personal life. Because oftentimes we think, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm pretty, now stop. But it's things like that where we have to understand that we're not always right, and that other individuals, their opinion matters.
Yes.
And if we would just listen to understand, we may actually come to a resolve.
I like that. Listen with the intent to understand. That is so huge. And then also too, we're taking it back to childhood with this one. It's not what you say, it's
how you say it.
Exactly. It's all in how you say it. Delivery is everything. If your delivery is off, guess what? Expect for the person that you're delivering it to not receive it. If your delivery is off, if you're nasty, if your tone is off, if you're in a bad headspace, if you're dealing with some personal issues at home in your life, you may want to take a step back and digress and say, okay, I need to maybe schedule this conversation for a later date, or now is not a good time. Let's schedule some time later. I think, Thaddeus and I aren't just business partners, but we're best friends as well. And I think even over the years, one thing that TJ has learned about me is when I'm upset, I don't like to have a conversation in that moment, especially discussing what may have upsetted me in that moment. And I generally need to take time back and away, and then I can come back to it later once I've cooled off. And then we're able to have a much more productive and effective conversation.
No, I agree with you 100%. And if you think about that and give an example of really valuing, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So Thaddeus has been guilty of saying, terrible idea, I don't like it. Versus if this was Vince, he'll often say, that's a really good point, Thaddeus. So that's a very good question that you asked. And then he'll begin to dig a little bit deeper. And he may already understand that that's not going to work, but you showed the value in making sure that my opinion matters and my opinion counts, and you don't shut me down immediately. And how many times have individuals automatically cut you off, said it with the nasty attitude, the vibe just wasn't right? And oftentimes somebody can come and say the exact same thing to you, but because the delivery is much better, you're able to receive it. I'm oftentimes reminded of my manager who will tell me, you can bring the most juiciest steak to me on a plate, but if that plate is dirty, I'm sending it back. It doesn't matter how amazing the product is. If the delivery isn't good, if the presentation is bad, I already don't want it.
I agree 100%. And honestly, talking it through, repeating the question back to the individual to make sure that you have a clear understanding of what it is that they're asking, or even saying, that's a good question. I think you make a very solid point. That also gives you an opportunity to collect your thoughts as well.
Absolutely.
Where you're not so reactive, but you're able to respond and take your time to think it through. Because guess what? Sometimes when we're asked questions or presented with information, we're caught off guard. And we don't want our immediate reaction to be one that could come off as hostile, disrespectful, but it very well so may require you to be assertive. But prefacing it, from the stance that, okay, I'm seeking to get an understanding and for us to reach a resolve. So I'm going to approach it more gentle, because I know that I'm going to have to end it with a solid period at the end. It's not up for question. It's not up for discussion. This is what it is. And I think that's a part of being assertive, because it boils down to a final decision being made.
Absolutely. I definitely think, just piggybacking off of that, it's very important to not only listen to understand, but really, again, have that opening mind, have a mind to not be stuck in your ways. And when you are being assertive, you can be very assertive without being disrespectful. I can think of so many times individuals have said something to me, and because I responded within the moment, I made matters worse. One thing that I've learned from Vince, and that is still a work in progress, but one thing that I've learned from Vince is there's times I'm having a conversation with him and I'm like, hello, I'm talking to you. And he'll say, Thad, I'm thinking, I'm processing this. He does a very good job of making sure that he doesn't necessarily respond in the moment and then make matters worse. And if you allow yourself or that individual that you're talking to think it through, to make sure that they're responding in a respectful manner, because oftentimes you can push the button so much that you either push yourself to say the wrong thing or you push them to say the wrong thing, and it can come off disrespectful. But there is a way that you can still be very assertive as long as you're respectful and also respecting the timing. Timing is so important.
I agree 100%. And have a consistent stance. What that means is you stand behind your no, or you stand behind your yes, whatever decision it is that you make, and you're being assertive, stand behind that. Even when you say yes and the majority disagrees, be assertive enough to have that consistent stance. Even if the majority thinks that you should do something and you still say no, have a consistent stance and stand behind that. But you don't want to come off as a flaky individual where you're going whichever direction the wind is blowing. So if you said no, stick to your no. If you said yes, stick to your yes. And you have to be assertive, because also too, you have to understand that disrespect isn't always hostile.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's subtle as well. And sometimes it's you're going behind me and you're making another decision, an alternative decision after we've discussed that this is what it's going to be. That can be deemed as disrespect as well, because you're not respecting my stance or my response to something, and you asked my thoughts, you asked my opinions, and then you did, the total opposite of what it was that we discussed. So now I have feelings of, being disrespected.
I agree. And while we're talking about this, drop those comments, share with us how you feel. Maybe you're in a situation where your stance is one way and then another individual feels a different way. This may be a coworker, this may be a friend that you're dealing with, but we would love to understand, how are you feeling based off information that we're sharing? And is this helpful for you? Yeah. Because the Upskill Forum is definitely about making sure that we're getting better. And when I think of from a standpoint, you want to make sure that you're not wishy-washy, you're not all over the place. Yeah. And there will be times that you may say no. And that's okay. And there may be times that you'll agree and that you'll say yes. And there may be times where you'll think about the situation and then you'll come back later and say, after thinking about this overnight, this is the point that, I'm at. And this is how I think that we should move forward within that situation. So definitely make sure that you're not an individual that kind of blows with the wind and that you're thinking things through. But definitely to Vince's point, stand on the principles of knowing what's right and the principles of knowing what's wrong. And I think as you build that, I don't want to use the word character, but as you build that brand for yourself, your stance will definitely stand behind your name and the individual that you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And allow your reputation to supersede you in a positive way.
Yep.
That means that your reputation speaks for itself before you even enter into the room, that they already know that you are an integral individual, that they already know, okay, when I come to this person, I need to present the facts. I know that they're going to have a consistent stance. I know that they're going to be assertive. I know that I can even trust their judgment and I'm willing to follow them. You don't always have to be the head leader in order to have a following.
That's good.
People can still value you, your thoughts, your opinions, even though you're not at the top of leadership, but you still have the ability to have influence. So allowing your reputation to supersede you before you even step foot in the room in a positive way goes along with that personal brand as well. So you want to make sure that you're being consistent. just all around with who you are. Be that assertive individual. Be that person that, knows what they want, knows what the outcome is that they want to have. Because you definitely don't want to be that person that's, all over the place.
No, I agree. And the question today is, are you disrespectful or are you assertive? What type of individual are you? And if you are disrespectful, how can you work to be more assertive and not be disrespectful? I think it's so important that you don't have the reputation, kind of like Vince talked about, your reputation speaking for you based off of how you carry yourself and how you interact with other professionals. But are you that individual that's a hothead? They already know, oh my God, you have to talk to Thaddeus. Good luck. Versus Vince is very easy to talk to. He'll be very understanding, and I know for a fact once you outline the facts to him that you will come out with a good resolution. Or if it's an individual where you're talking to, Joe, and the moment that you have to talk to Joe, it doesn't matter what you have to say. His mind's going to already be made up, and he may be very disrespectful. You don't want that reputation. You don't want to be that individual where people are already cringing knowing they have to talk to you. You can still be very assertive without being disrespectful, as long as the delivery is right. And then you're taking these points that we've shared with you and making it kind of come into the big picture of what you're trying to do.
Absolutely. But you know what, TJ, one thing that I realized as well is everyone doesn't realize that they're disrespectful.
This is true.
Many times individuals think I'm just being real, and I hate to break it to you, but sometimes you're being real disrespectful. Or you're being real rude.
That's good.
That's the level of real that you are, and you're not being a polished professional. You can convey your point and get your point across without being nasty, without shutting people down, as soon as they open their mouths, or even presenting yourself as unapproachable. So there is a difference between being assertive and keeping your stance to being positive than, just being downright disrespectful, so.
I think the way you just put that together, individuals, I have heard that said so many times, I'm just being real, and this is the way it needs to be. But no, you are being real rude right now. Yeah. You are being really or real disrespectful right now. There's a difference between being real and being assertive. There's a difference between being real disrespectful. When you think about having a quality conversation, a respectful conversation, I don't think you can relate that to being real, because your definition of being real is not going to be my definition of being real. But if you look up the definition of assertive, you're going to see pretty much the things that we're sharing with you. If you look at the definition of being disrespectful, you'll definitely see a lot of the information that we're sharing again on how not to be that hothead, or how not to be that individual that someone doesn't want to talk to. Yeah. But I think the way you honestly broke that down, I would love to see some hashtags in the comment. You're being real disrespectful. It happens all the time. But how do you set yourself apart to make sure that you don't have that reputation?
And you got to know how to get your point across without being that school age kid. And don't expect for employers and your colleagues to put up with it, because that's just who you are. Be mindful too of your body language, your tone, your attitude. You may not agree with. Don't just, slouch, sit around uninterested, just be all in your phone. Like, that is disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the individual that's presenting. It's disrespectful to everyone around you in the room. And you're basically even telling that person what you're saying right now is unimportant and I don't care.
And I think you hit it on the head, because oftentimes in meetings, individuals will be on their phone, and you can tell when an individual is actually taking notes and really engaged in the conversation, or an individual that's surfing Facebook, on social media, sending text messages. That's being real disrespectful. Whether you agree with what's happening or not, in the moment, be in that moment, be in that meeting. Make sure that you are being attentive, because kind of like Vince said, you don't always have to say it, but your body language, your behaviors will bleed through and show exactly what you're doing.
And understand too that disrespect isn't always loud, but it is always obvious.
That's true.
So keep that in mind. Disrespect is not always loud, but it is always obvious. So even if I can't hear it, I can still see it. Even if I can't see it, I can still hear it. So be mindful of your presentation and the energy that you're giving off, because it's very real.
Absolutely.
And then also too, identify the right opportunity to address. Now isn't always the right time, and later isn't always the right time neither. But use good sound judgment to make that call of when it's time for you to step up and address certain things. Setting timing is everything, and it very well so could make or break the outcome that you're looking to get. And take time to establish relationships take time to establish relationships to establish understanding. This is so important. When you take time to really get to know people and to understand where they're coming from, some things are truly just personality traits. And they may not be that cheery, smiley person, but they could very well so be a very compassionate and understanding person. You just have to break past the preconceived notions and the judgments that we tend to pass off sometimes. So being mindful of that and taking time to actually get to know the individuals that you labor amongst and that you work with, that's going to help you a lot too in the long run.
I agree, Vince. I mean, you hit everything on the head. And really just understanding who you are as an individual. Just like I shared with you, I'm not all the way there yet. I still have areas that I'm working on. Understand that you're not perfect either, and you still have areas to work on. But if you put these basic principles into place, you would definitely see a change. It'll help you in your professional career. It'll help you even within your friendships and the relationships that you have to help you continue to grow and to get to that next level.
Absolutely. All right, now we reach our favorite part of the Upskill Forum. This is the Q&A session. So go ahead and drop those questions and comments in the comment section below. For the sake of time, we're going to come back and we're going to comment back to you each directly our answers to the questions that you may have. So go ahead and share those comments, share those questions, and we'll be sure to get back to you. But just for the sake of time, we want to make sure that we're being respectful of you all that join us week in and week out. We're so glad, so grateful to have you all as our viewers. So go ahead and drop those comments below. And for our announcements, I want to touch on the announcement once again. Registration for our free masterclass is now open. Make sure that you follow the link to get registered. Once again, if you are frustrated, struggling with your career growth and development, this masterclass is for you. And maybe it's for you or someone that you know. Registration does close on Monday, October 5th. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and get registered today. This is a free masterclass. How much that is?
Free.
It is absolutely free. This masterclass will be taking place at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Thursday, October 8th. So you want to make sure that you have your seat reserved because you don't want to miss this.
Absolutely. And then meet us here every single Tuesday at 6:30.
When?
Tuesday at 6:30 for the Upskill Forum, where we will share great information with you. We will talk about the topics that you choose and help you continue to live agile, work agile, and succeed agile.
Beautiful. And schedule your one-on-one consultation today by emailing us at engageus@agile-consultinggroup.com, where we offer career coaching. We offer entrepreneurship consulting for the startup businesses and existing businesses that's looking to shift to the next level. We also offer consultations for team building, customer service training, and leadership development. So make sure that you schedule that consultation today.
And join our private group. That is the Agile group on Facebook. for professionals. We will share information in that group just for you. You're able to engage directly with us, where we are able to really help you get to that next level. But definitely get in that group. You don't want to be out. Stay in the know.
And like us on Facebook at Agile Consulting Group. Like us on LinkedIn. Follow us on Instagram. And make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Agile Consulting Group, where you'll receive updates and know when we are going live. And if you haven't done so yet, like this Facebook page so you do not miss your notifications when we are live sharing more spicy topics with you all as we get you through your Tuesday evening. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Once again, I am Vince, your CEO and co-founder of Agile Consulting Group.
And I am TJ, your president and co-founder of the Agile Consulting Group.
And as we end each episode with our slogan, and that is live agile, work agile, succeed agile. Thank you. Until next time, our friends.